other side. We have a lot of protection and layers of energy to uphold this realm of choice for who we are and our consciousness.
I worked with a woman in Arizona that had picked up a not-so-friendly entity in a Ouija board. Why they sell those at Toys R Us, I do not know. Honestly. And a healer student of mine was her counselor, but this was over her head, and she called me to step in and help her. And I went through the process of free will and personal sovereignty with her and just told her, ask it to leave, and gave her feelings of empowerment and choice. Well, it came back the next day, and we did it again, and then it came back a third day, and I'm like, really thinking maybe you're not as convicted to the idea of, the courage of your convictions here isn't really coming through. And as it turned out, she and her teenage daughter were estranged, and as this entity came in, all of the melodrama of it brought her daughter back to help her. And so there was some secondary gain here about liking all of the drama. Oh, this thing is here, and it's just, because her daughter was all of a sudden very helpful and very in tune and working with her. And so I did end up talking to the daughter, and I said, your mom is really kind of inviting this entity back in because it's really working for her in reconciling the relationship, and if you were to talk to her about the relationship being reconciled, she would no longer have the need to keep inviting this entity in, and then it went away. So a lot of times people will call it in, and a little bit of melodrama, a little fun in there, but there are some not nice energies out there. But remember, there is only light, and just like when you come across a human who's being rude to you or being unkind, and we pause and we think, oh, something's hurting them, something is upsetting them and causing them to act this way. It is the same with these darker energies. They also have forgotten that they're light. There is only light. And I'll never forget, I think it was a year and a half ago, we had a guest speaker here, Bill Foss from Arizona. And he had a friend with him that was working with me on somebody that had an entity around them, and I thought it was so beautiful as I sat in the angel room with him and we worked on removing this entity from somebody. He spoke to that entity and said, you have been fooled. You have been told that you are not light. This isn't true. And you've been betrayed. You are light. And Archangel Michael is coming in to show you that you're light. So even these darker entities that can be around us, they're not ones to be feared. They are ones to be understood and discerned upon, but not to be feared that there is something out there that we need to be pulling away from. But send them light. Send them away, but send them away with light and love. Because they themselves have also been fooled and been caught up in fear. Otherwise they wouldn't be behaving that way.
But also when we start tuning into the other side, it's not some random event. It's a conscious choice. And we don't want to just go in as like, okay, whatever's out there. There's a place where we have chosen to be spiritual in nature. We've chosen to align ourselves with the Christ consciousness. We've chosen to open our heart to the greater part of ourselves, to be in the light. And to walk this walk, to be on this path, is a choice. And so it's not like all of a sudden, like you say, you're not just picking up a Ouija board out of nowhere and just see what happens. That's like taking a random drive to, one of the bad parts of town and just see what happens. Let's go see what happens. But one time my parents drove us through, the Bowery, but to stay in the car at that point, just to, show us that there's a whole different side of life. But when I set out each day, I start my day with gratitude. And when I'm, meeting other people, it's like there's a connection. There's a real part of us where we're joined that we're here to understand that we're not separate souls all with our own little agendas, that we all are connected in source. And that's what we're here to align with, that connection. And that's where compassion comes in. that connection is on the level of love. And so that's where we really resound and live and understand what our full potential is. So it's, you know, it's a lot more than just going into some, oh, here's some random energy, I wonder what it is, let's see. But it's more like, no, I've aligned myself, and so I'm now willing and open and ready to take the next step.
Thank you. It's 11:15, even though it only says 10:15, so I think we'll close up, and then Steve will be available for questions afterwards.
Sure.
So let's do the giving envelopes, and then, would you like to do the closing meditation?
Sure.
That'd be nice. Your time of awakening. So breathe in. Breathe in, yes. Feel your crown opening. Let in your divinity. wonderful week. And we'll see you all next Sunday. There's something happening, I think, next Sunday. I have to get my list out. Yeah, there's lots of wonderful events coming up in March. I'll see you all next week. Have a wonderful time. And Steve will be available here for questions if you want to talk to him afterwards. Thanks for all your input and your sharing.
When's the next